All right, so we are live. For those watching the recording a little later, my disclaimer, like I said, this one's only going to be about maybe 20 minutes, not my normal 30. I'm only going to be covering the SPY and Bitcoin because those are the two. You can base the market on how it's going to move based on those two, right? Roughly. So I unfortunately don't have time to cover the other ones today, but I will do my best to get those later. And then we'll talk more about the ATA and kind of how we're going to set that up and what path we're going to go for that. So we had a really good day on Thursday on the ATA. Friday, we set a very tight time zone. Um, it would have taken two trades. Both would have got out profitably, which I'll show you. But because of the tight time zone, we cut it off sooner, which is fine, right? We don't want to rush or push things on Fridays. So let's get started. So first things first, let's talk about the news. Let's just see what we got going today. Obviously, that's the most important thing we want to consider when we're choosing direction and such. So we have the Euro news, U.S., nothing really going on today. Let's take a look at tomorrow. And I'm mostly following the U.S. stuff, guys. I'm not really covering too much on the Euro sides, since we're trading mostly during the U.S. market opens and closes. ISM, we got job openings. Tends to you can see they're projected at slowing down just a little bit. Crude oil inventories is normal. The non-farm employment, man, that's actually a big drop. Okay, we don't need to see farther into the week. So yeah, so we could play mostly on TA. I mean, nothing wild going on in there. So let's talk about the SPY first. Kind of where we're at, where I see us going, and the plays that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start off with the 1 hour. Let's take a look. Truth be told, like I said, I try not to look at the charts a whole lot before I load these up because I like to get a fresh look of what I'm looking for when I decide to choose my day. So you can see here, if y'all remember, last week we talked about how we had the high on the RSI, we had a lower high here, but yet we had the higher high, creating that divergence. Actually, I believe the first call was this one to this one, right? Which called that. We did get a push north, and then that divergence finally played out, right? And we did get that fall. I mean, that was about an $8 fall. Now, if you guys remember, and I hope you guys caught this trade on Thursday, we always talk about on the 1 hour, ever since back here, right, in July 10th, I had been talking as we've been climbing that we were going to come down and retest this 200 at some point, right? That was my thing that I preach, is that we always retest that 200. And if you look, we actually came down and we wicked right at the 200 right here. So this was literally a gimme call setup, right? It's the first time we've touched the 200 since July 10th, and so about 20 days or so. So this play north was pretty easy to read. And kind of as far as where we are now, right? We ended up rejecting. Also, before I jump onto that, not only the 200 right on this support, but if you line this line up right here, right with the wick, it's literally exactly where this one is right here on support, and exactly where resistance is right across here. So everything in there showed that you should be taking some longs and they're not puts. So if you took some puts in here because you FOMO'd through, then you got to really stop chasing the big candles like this. So now where do we go from here? So if you notice here, we do have a high, we have a lower high, we have a high, we have a lower high. So there's really not any divergence per se anymore. The thing I'm more focused on right now is what I want to look at is we have our yellow line that we've marked here. This one has been, acting as resistance, but there's really not any touches all the way through here, right? So I like to zoom out and just kind of look and see, okay, why did I place that line and how viable is it, right? So I always double check my lines. And so it looks like we placed it because of these peaks here. As well as back here. So it was very viable back then, but so far over here we have not really it didn't reach it there, it didn't reach it there. When it did reach it here, it blew past it, and then it crashed back, right? Now we did come over and reach it a little bit right there. So this is how I just kind of verify my lines, right? All right. So what I'm gonna do is let's pull this line down. That's what I'm aiming for, is make it a little more localized, right? We'll just grab this peak right here. That's what we're gonna look for. So we got that peak there. The other thing that I drew was these white lines here. So let's go to the daily and just kind of talk about how we set those up. So we kind of have like our little cross apex going here, and how I drew those is I forever, because we keep going up, right? We have to keep moving this peak to different peaks, right? So I feel like as you go from this peak over to now our new high, which is around, I think it was 59, or 459.44. It's a good level to mark because we had a really good pullback off of it, right? So if we break above that, what I did is I took this lower one and I kind of apexed it up like this. And so what I'm looking for there is those would be some really good setup for put entries. And so I'm going to zoom this out like this, and so you can see how as we break above this, right, if we come back up here and test this again, we still have that resistance around 459, 40 or 50, but we may wick past it to 459.83, right? So anywhere in this area is going to be a really crazy resistance zone. Keep in mind, guys, this could be also early, if we are going to be bullish, right? This could be an early kind of upper and lower range, so 451 to 459, and we may even just range in that for a little bit, right? So we may see a little bit of a push. Let's say Mondays typically fake out, so let's say we see a push north here, right? You're gonna want to take that put anywhere around that 459 area, and then you're gonna want to let that ride down. Now, if we see the push down like this, right, we could find some support higher. I'm gonna mute my Harmonic Tracker Pro. I love it. It's my favorite indicator, but a little bit noisy sometimes when I'm trying to do trend lines. So let's take a look at this. All right, so let's try to find our new trend line low that we want to see. And so I'm just going to take this bottom peak where we found some crazy support, and I'm going to line it up like this. And you can see it's very viable because we have a bounce here and we're holding support through there, right? Let's mute the gap fill one as well. Okay. And so you can see, right, we have the bounce there, and it's been holding slightly above there. So for me, if I want to take that put on the 2-minute, I need to see it break the 21 SMA, this trend line, and the 200. When I see that break that, then I'm okay to ride that put down. We do have somewhat of a little bit of a kind of like that thing going on. I mean, it's I don't know if I'd call this like a wedge, right, of any sort, because we do have kind of this smaller, see how the oscillations are big, and then they're a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. It just means that something's coming, right? We're gonna get a break here soon. I would say if you take this trend line and you take our resistance line that we just drew, the breakout has to come before 9:30, which is pretty much market open, right? So we'll be able to tell by market open. If we break above this yellow one and we start to hold support here, then you're going to want to take that call. If we break below the white line on the breakout and we break below this 200 EMA, then you're going to want to take that put. So that's my and or ifs today as you're writing that. Now, keep in mind, I keep saying this too, but if you look at the 1 hour on the overall SPY, we're kind of in the middle, so there's plenty of room to go up and there's plenty of room to go down, right? Now, if you look at the zoom out, which y'all know how I like to do this, although this fall seemed like a lot, it's really not, right? We fell a lot more before. I still believe that once we get into a squeeze somewhere in here, right, we're gonna have a bigger pullback like that. I mean, for us to truly gap fill, we got to pull back to at least 431 or so, somewhere in there here for these retests, 431, 437. So I see that coming, in the coming weeks. So. And then if you look at the daily, one last thing I'll talk about on the SPY, like I say, always when in doubt, zoom out. You can see how we had this resistance here. We literally have been on a nonstop climb since 380 without any real significant pullback all the way here, right? I mean, that's pretty massive. So even in the bull market times, right, we had bigger pullbacks like that, right? And then it had its tear, still had a pretty good pullback here. I mean, that doesn't look like much on the daily, but that's 394 to 372. It's like a $20 pullback, which would put us about that 430, right? You can see here we had another crazy pullback, and if you look at this, I mean, we're slightly above that, so we're in some crazy territory here. Now, it's very going to be very news impacted, right? So if the news is enough to break it above 461.74, if it shoots above it and then comes down and retests and holds as support, then you can take that call, right? I mean, because we're coming back up for that all-time high, but that's kind of the range I would play on the SPY, guys. I'm going to jump ahead because I spent about 10 minutes on that. Again, I'm not going to do the tech stocks. I apologize. I have to go and sign for my house today. All right, we can probably delete this now. This was the rising wedge that we called on Bitcoin, played out perfectly, came up and it actually retested the line again and played out perfectly again. So lots of money made on those shorts. So let's go ahead and delete that. Y'all know my feeling on Bitcoin. I've said, back, I think it was here, I said that we were going to come down to about 29.8 or 28.9, sorry. And that was because if you look at right here, right, you had your bounces here, and then you have a lot of resistance levels in here. And so typically it's going to fall, hold its support. So we hit really close, 29.864. And then we've really just been ranging since then. You can see we have this wick here. We do have a higher low here, and it is starting to squeeze. You can see on the 1 hour we have hit the 200 EMA, rejected, hit it, rejected, hit it, rejected, hit it, and we rejected, but we're literally like right at it. So I would suspect that I would not take a long, guys, unless we actually break above this 200 around. I would say we need to hold at least 29.5. Because if you look at right here, right, even above the 200, you have these wick, you have the wick, you have the wick. So it's heavy resistance, was also heavy support right here. So I would want to break above 29.5 with some momentum, maybe come up and retest this wick, then come down and hold support here or above the 200. Then you're clear to take longs. I'd caution with the shorts at that point. Again, from the longer standpoint, my belief is that we still need to come retest this area around 27, 28K before we have our big up. If we do have our fall down to this way again, so that, that would be kind of like our, we had our peak up here, we had our pullback, right? You had your kind of retest of this again, maybe a fall 2 coming somewhere around 28.4, and then have it come back up like this again, and then a fall 3 would put it around like 28.1, but that all is based on the fact that we stay below this 200, right? If we get above this 200 and it starts to hold support, keep in mind this was heavy support around 29.6, 29.5. So if we break above that and we hold that as support, people are gonna see that as strength, right? And then you'll see that rocket north back to like 31 something. So that's kind of the range I would play for Bitcoin. If you're scalping, if you're below this 200, I would take shorts. If you're above this 200, I would take your longs. So, and then just trust your indicators, right? We have the Harmonic Tracker Pro, which let's go to the 2 minute and see how we've been doing. I'll zoom in. So keep in mind on Bitcoin, the Harmonic Tracker Pro is a scalping. And so if we come over here, you can see caught the short, caught the long, called the short again. It did call long here. That's a little scalp. I mean, you figure 29,408 to 29,443. It's a little tight, right? But again, you have the zone trackers, all calling red right here as well. So you might not want to take that long when you're in this red zone and you're so far from the green zone. The short would have made some money, and then currently the last call is in a long. So, all right, let's jump into the ATA. As y'all know, I've been running some very different settings lately. So this was our Friday. Um, the funny thing, I was kind of, although I laugh about it just because really, what can you do? Fridays, I don't like to trade much, anyways. As a trader, I usually cut off around like 11 or 12, anyways. So as a copy trader, I made the decision to stop the ATA around 12 o'clock, and so the ATA stopped right there, literally on this candle, guys. And then the very next candle, it took a trade at 12:01. So what a jerk. It ended up a very good trade. Didn't get out until down here, which is TP2. And then it would have taken a call, which would have got out around here, TP1. So only took two trades. I ran SARS. SARS is very, very, very picky, so that doesn't surprise me. It only ran two trades. But I was just, you can't do anything but laugh on the fact that we missed it by 1 freaking minute. Those that are running copy trades, apologize. If I had a crystal ball, I would have known. But that's okay. We didn't lose anything, right? We didn't get stuck in anything in the weekend. Now, for me, I am going to, based on the TA that we just talked about, right? I'm going to run calls because I still think we have a lot of pressure north, so we get some really good bounces. But I'm gonna do it on the parabolic SARS just like we have before. And then so let's just delete these alerts because I'm gonna double check these. But I'm gonna run a little more aggressive on the puts, like we did the other day, because we've just gone up. I mean, we've gone up from 451 all the way to 457. Like I told you before, we could pump all the way to 459, right? But I mean, we're pretty high in the range. So even if it took a put up here, we'll do a 4-day contract. I mean, its DCA mark won't be till like 462 if we set it. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to probably run the DCA because I have found that the stop loss works a lot better. So let's say if we take a put early and it just pumps, right, and it goes straight to stop loss and we stop out, it's going to take another put up in here, and it's going to take multiple of them on the way down. So it'll ride that back down. So I'm not too concerned being too aggressive on the puts there. So let's just start with the calls. So call, SPY, we have all that correct. So we're going to do 4-day. Touch, we won't start until 9:45. That's just something I always like to do. We can go till 3 o'clock today because I'm okay if something gets stuck in for a day. Close trade zone. All right. No, I'm not gonna set stop at end of day. 0.5 is fine. We're not gonna DCA, and we're gonna set the tight stop loss at 0.25. So keep in mind, guys, and if you're copy trading on this, we're not using DCA protocol anymore. We are stopping out on trades with tight stop losses, and when you do set up this setting, it's going to take losses. It's just going to. But the objective is to take more wins than you take losses, obviously. So that way we can be net green. So that's the setting I'm going to do on the calls. So let's go ahead and set up that alert. Copy call. All right. I didn't move the closed candle because it doesn't matter because it's already out of a trade anyway, so it's gonna look for one anyways. And same thing. So on the shorts, so here's what I'm gonna do. This is how, like we talked about, how you can test on the shorts. I think we tested. I think it was Trend Finder that was the best. But let's just move this back to like the 10th. Give us a few days of testing. All right. So we have a 75% on the parabolic. Let's see, average 0.98 hours in trade, 6 stop losses out of 24. Let's check Trend Finder. We want one that runs a lot more, but that's still profitable. So Trend Finder actually is doing well. You see this stop loss just because it's an end of day stop losses all on that one, but it actually has higher percent, more trades. You know, again, you got some stop losses in there for sure. Let's check. Let's make this 4. Okay. Let's try moving average. I think Trend Finder has been a better one up here actually lately. RSI. I'm just looking at win rate as well as stop losses in here. Now keep in mind it's going to be a lower percentage because we're talking about puts in the last 10 days, even though we've been on an uptrend like crazy, right? So if we can get a high percentage while in an uptrend, then it's going to kill it in a downtrend. ATR is not too bad. In and out of trades a lot quicker. Golden Cross and Parabox Archway. No, all right. So I think Trend Finder is the one that I like the best. Has less stop losses. It's out of the trades pretty quick. And it's about 78. So let's go Trend Finder today. So I'm just gonna push this one up to 31. All right. And then we're gonna take off stop trade at the end of day. We're gonna make this till 3 o'clock. We'll do that on that. Okay. And we still, I didn't cover that, but we still have the stop loss in there, 0.25. So again, let's let's see how it can do. So, all right, let's go add alert. Copy, put. All right, guys, and we are live. That's gonna be the settings I'm gonna run. Let's make sure that both, so we got both alerts going. If you guys are running your own thing, that's kind of my plan today. You know, if you look at it, like I said, we're sitting about right here, and if you look in the history that we're possibly ranging in, right, there's down, there's up, there's down, there's up, and we're kind of like right in that middle. That's why I'm okay with still running the calls. There's not a lot of news that's expected, so I'm not anticipating anything crazy, right, unless. Who knows, man? You know, with all this UFO stuff going on, maybe we'll get attacked by a UFO, and then our market will tank, and hopefully we're gonna put we'll be rich right before we die. No, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm gonna cut this off about 10 minutes early. Again, this one's a little bit shorter. I do have to go. For those who are watching on TikTok or on YouTube, I've already let you guys know in the community. So when I move into my house, I'm moving in today, so I'm moving all day today, probably tomorrow too. But I've been fighting with my internet company trying to get them to install it, and they either gave me an option of installing it by the 15th, which apparently they're way behind, or they can do like if something cancels, which they guarantee within 3-day window. So it's either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday that they're going to come out and install it. I just don't know when. It's kind of like you're on like a standby, right? And so as soon as I get internet, I'll be back to doing this. Where I'm moving to, I get about 1 to 2, like 2 bars. So I have signal, maybe to do like some videos, or I have signal to post and do all the normal stuff, the insight and things that I need to do in the chat. I just can't do video like this. And so unfortunately, if you don't see me on the huddle for the next couple days, because I don't have internet, if y'all are in the community, all you need to do is go into Market Insight here, and that's where I'll post kind of what I'm doing with the ATA and all that stuff. So, all right, but we are set up, rocking and rolling. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will be available as you need in the trading floor. So if you all have any questions, you want to confirm patterns, let's get some trading going on. I may even still do some trading from my phone. We'll see. I'll probably set up some alerts. If we hit a certain point, I'll take a put. If we hit anything around 459, 460, I'm gonna look to put for sure. Anything down in the 452 area, I'm considering calls for sure. So, but I hope that helps you all out in your trading, and you guys have a great rest of your day.